Yo, what's up, guys? It's ScriptParent here, and today I wanted to make a video how to make certain UI elements nice and smooth. This is gonna be the first video I ever post on this channel, and I'm gonna teach you guys the step-by-step on learning about tween service and player GUI, which is basically the player's local UI that shows up only for them. Or you can change things around and make it change around with the server. It's kind of weird, but that stuff is a little advanced. Either way, we're gonna learn how to mess around with some UI tweening to make things really smooth. So first, you want to get your face of your UI. Like, depending on what you want to use, you can feel free to name it whatever you want. Call this main here. Let's add a frame here, and make sure the frame covers the entire screen. And then I'm using unit conversion plugin, which is like probably one of the best plugins for making sure your UI is 100% scaled, and it's much easier than just going in and changing your numbers to 1 and the size. Obviously, you don't want to use offset in terms of using different devices if you're going to make your game mobile or anything like that, or it's like specific sizing. You don't want it to like just be not fitting the screen. Also, if I turn on ignore GUI inset. It's very important. A lot of people don't know about that, depending if you're new or not to UI. But yeah, make sure you always turn that on. It's important depending on what you're trying to do, especially if it's like a main UI thing. All right, so what you want to do is have a holder frame. The holder frame is a frame within the screen GUI that holds everything within it, so that it's all inside that like screen resolution. So it's all covering the entire screen, and you can add anything inside of it, and it'll stay perfectly boxed inside the at the screen. So first things first, you want to do is I'm just going to teach you guys how to mess around with local scripts first. So if you want, you just add a local script into your screen GUI. I'm going to call it handler. You can leave that open, but for now, what we're going to do is we're going to make a template UI. Let's say I want a button list of some sort. What would actually look really good is if you add a frame such as this. Let's just do it at the bottom here. Add a long frame here. Put it at the bottom, make sure it's lined up. Line it up how you want. You can conversion it, scale it. And your frame here is going to need to be named something specific. So a button list within this. What you're going to do with this button list specifically is you're going to make it invisible. Well, not yet. If you want to be able to see it first, I might do. Then what you want to do after that, you want to add a UI list layout. These are very important for making some types of things that are perfectly layered together and properly formed. So let's say there's a UI list layout. Instead of it just plopping the UI over itself like this, how it just goes inside of one another, and add a UI list layout and change this to horizontal, and then they stack properly, as you can see. And then at that point, what you want to do is set up your UI. So from here on out, you want to make your first button, so text button. Depending on what you want to use, you can use frames, buttons inside of it. Use anything, whatever you feel like is going to work. It doesn't really matter. But make a little button here, make sure it's scale, and then name it test button. And inside this button, we want to add some cool effects, right? You don't want it to be a little bland or just look terrible. So what you want to do is, depending on if you want icons for your text, and you don't really need to do anything. You just remove the text inside of it, make sure the text transparency is 1, and you can make sure the text scaled option is checkmarked. That's going to be important for making sure if you're using text for the name of the box, make sure that's on so that it actually scales with the screen. Next is making sure that it is colored in a nice way. So you want to go ahead and turn down the background color just slightly. And when you're here, you can go ahead and add a UI stroke. This is basically an outline for every single for the thing that you put it inside of. Basically, let's say you add a UI stroke inside of this box, text button. It will add a outline, and you can make it white. And then you can change it to like bevel or like bevel, mirror, or round, however you like the thing to look. Matter how you feel fit. It's very different. for everyone. Okay, when you're at this point, you can go ahead and make this, instead of it going to the left, make it center, and then here you can start adding new buttons, and then add it so the scale. You want to make sure it actually can fit properly, so you have some spacing. The padding property inside of the UI list layout is what makes it specifically spaced. So when you're spacing it properly, you want to use padding with scale. At this point, you have your UI setup. You have 3 options here. Now, what you want to do now is make it more nice looking. So image labels. Image labels are images that you plop inside of the text button so that it actually has like an appearance to it. The button is what you would use as, it's basically an instance that you hover over and you click on. And the image label is just an instance inside of the text label or text button that you actually can just see as a part of it. So you want to make sure this is scale as well. And let's make sure that the anchor point for this box here is 0.5. So you want to do 0.5, 0.5 on the anchor point for the button as well. Pretty important in case if you want to size it up or not and make it bigger, which we will do. Next thing you want to do here is with your image label is turn your background transparency to 1 and then find a specific icon for it. So let's say we're going to make some form of UI option. I guess we could just make this like, we find a store or something, a shop, like that. Copy this down and put this inside this image label here. Should work. Yep, there it is. All right, now we have a shop icon. Some people usually enjoy UI corners on their stuff, so they make it circular. I'm not a big fan of that specifically, but some people do it and it tends to like look pretty good. So I mean, can't complain. But you can't really use UI stroke with it, at least not that I know of. Maybe you can. Oh yeah, you can. All right, there you go. And let's say I want to use the circles. I'll use circles for now. Not a big fan of it. It's like my first time really using it. But let's say this is the first button, test button. Okay, let's start with the code. So now, what we're going to do inside your code, we're going to start doing the variables. Variables are how you find certain things. So first things first, before we start actually coding, let's make sure we add a folder inside of here. Right? You can name this UI sounds. And in here, you can add any sound you want, whichever you feel is fit. Go ahead and go down to audio. Go down. This one. And then air sounds. This one as well, just for now. Okay, now back to the code. All right, so first things first, with your first variable is you always want to find the main UI. So for the screen UI, in case you want to disable it in some form of way, script.parent, which is basically the parent of the script, which is right here, as you can see. Parent of the script is main, so we'll be looking for main. This is how you name it. Local, whatever you want to name it, and then script.parent. And it's looking for this specific instance. After that, you want to go ahead and repeat those steps with basically the H frame. So main, H frame, child, wait, I'm so sorry. My brain is all over the place. Main with child H. And inside of that, when you're done, you can go local button list, H frame, child, button. There you go. All right. Now you have the H frame, which is this frame here, but this frame here, the main screen GUI. After that, you want to find your UI buttons. So UI sounds, script here. Sorry, use main actually. Main with child UI sounds. Okay. At this point, you want to go ahead and start adding some effects to your buttons, right? You want to do some things to it. So first things first, you want to call the service for Tween service. You want to call this TS, goes game, get service, Tween service. And at that point, you are calling for Tween service, and you can use this to go ahead and find the tween service and call it later on whenever you want to make a tween. Tweens are basically like you do fades, position moving, anything like that. At this point, you want to go ahead and do a 4i loop. These 4i loops basically sift through every single thing inside of something specific, which is the way I'm going to set it up at least. You can set it up to do whatever you want, honestly. 4i loops are very helpful. Very confusing sometimes, but very helpful. So 4i slash, let's do buttons in pairs. And you want to do button list, hit children, do, end, and then you want to do a check for if it's a text button. So if buttons, say text button, and buttons not visible because it's true, and make sure add an extra end there. Just want to make sure you end this if statement here, and at that point, pretty much set to do whatever you want with the button. So inside of this, it's going to be checking for every single button. It actually eases the job. So let's say we have two options in this test 2. And let's have a third option. Test 3. Let's have 3 options instead. So at this point, we're going to have 3 buttons. You do not have to code each individual button. A lot of people do this. Very time consuming and wasting a lot of space in your code, and just makes it very messy. So a 4i is the best way to go. From this point on, you can go ahead and do a click check, mouse enter check, or you can use input ended or anything like that. But for now, we're going to just use mouse enter, mouse leave, and mouse click. So first things first, you want to set up a tween. So what we're going to do first is we're going to make sure the UI strokes transparency are 1. And at this point, we're going to go back here. We're going to go to buttons dot mouse button 1 click connect function. And you're going to close it off here. And at this point, you want to find UI sounds, child, find a sound within this that actually will sound pretty good. And next time we'll stop. So sounds, select, enter, play. And now if we load in, it should play the audio on every single button, no matter which one I click on. There you go. Now it's clicking all the sounds specifically. Seems like it's not loud enough for you guys to hear it. Sorry, apologize. Let's make sure you guys can hear everything. As you can see, it's clicking it and it's making the sound. Alright, now from here on out, what you want to do is you can go ahead and either whenever you click it, you can make it bigger. You want to just make it so you just hover over it, it does that. You copy this, just mouse enter. From this point on, you can do a hover sound effect. Hover. Have that here. Okay. And hover. Oops, sorry. Hover. Play. Okay. Now when we enter it, what we want it to do is every time, whenever you enter any button, you do a tween service. So TS tween service, like we called earlier, in the variable. You can create something new, and we just have to find a button. So every single button. And then tween info dot new and how fast you want it to go. How fast you want this tween to play? Do 0.5, and then we can do, let's say, I want to just change the size of it. So size, two.new, and basically you want to set this to a scale size. You should play at the end, but for now, you can make sure you get the size of the button. It has to be the same size. So it's 0.7 here. And then 1. Like that. How you want it to be. And then set this up for mouse leave. And then this is just going to be setting it back to its normal value here. We can just say I want to click the cancel button. Say cancel. Okay. And the size. Instead, we're going to go inside the button and we're going to size it up ever so slightly so that you can tell that it's actually being sized. Then take the sizing of this, mouse enter, make it a lot bigger. Change these values here, and then go back and set it back to what it was before. Press play. It should size itself. As you can see, very smooth stuff. Now you see it's tweening itself. The size is going bigger, it's going smaller, it's going back to whatever it was, and staying in its original position. Now what we want to do is to add more effect. Look to it. Add a tween service. Create. Right? Make the buttons. Instead of doing the button, you want to wait for the child, which is the UI stroke side of that. You want to look for the UI stroke, and you do tween info.new. Make sure it's the same speed so that it actually just looks better. And then you want to do transparent equals 0. And play it. Whenever you enter it, it'll do that. Whenever you leave it, it'll go back to being visible. So it should now just play that. There you go. Now it has an outline. Nice and smooth. This actually makes your UI very more clean, a lot more clean, and it's just much more better to look at, in my opinion. So after this, if you want, you can make the buttons do movements with other frames. So let's say, I don't know, I want to add a frame specifically for a specific button. Let's do a frame here in the middle. Add a frame here. Let's say like a shop or something. Whatever you want to make, matter. Make whatever you want. Any conversion between scale, and you want to call it, let's say, shop frame. Inside of this, you want to add a text button. Size it properly. I'm gonna give it an X back button. The background can be nothing now. Scaled, bold, red. This Y shop frame, that's bright area to look at, and we're going to imagine that just actually, you know, it looks good. We're gonna imagine this UI is actually something great. All right, I'm not gonna go through all that UI creation stuff. Anyway, right, you're here. What I like to do is I like to take advantage of what I already have set up. Right. What you want to do is instead, all right, what I'm gonna do is when you click that button, it's buttons dot name equals, okay? You want to find the test, the original test name, okay, which is going to be the actual name for the shop button. The other ones are just other tests. Next, you want to find the actual shop frame. Shop frame equals main stage frame, child shop frame. Now what you're going to do is go back to the shop frame, sort on its properties, make sure it doesn't get off, handler, and then when you're here, go back to this if statement that we set here, side of the mouse click. If button name is test, then do is shop frame dot visible is true, right? And then down, shop frame child back mouse button one click, connect function, right? And shop frame dot visible equals false. Then y button list dot visible equals true. Inside of this, false. Let's test it out and see if it works. Yep. Works with no problem. See? All right, now what we're gonna do now is we're gonna give it like a quick little play of an animation. So go back to the shot frame, make sure it's visible so you can see it. And then you want to keep its original location. You click this. I'm gonna add, let's format this just in case the photo is a little messy. All right, so button name is test. Then you want to go ahead and clean the shot frame. So yes, create shot frame, new flow.new 5 position and equals freedom 2.new, and then those playing it and click the back button. Instead it's back, but what you do now is you want to make a position for it. So it'll be like this, and when you click, it'll go to this specific position. So you can save this position down. Make sure everything is scaled. I'll scale. Okay, so that there. Put these numbers here. Okay, click this. Then in here, back, I'm gonna set it to its original position, like up here, yes. That, take this number here. All right, now we have those numbers. What I'm gonna do is keep it in this position. Make sure it is false. Go back, and when you do it, you play an animation. Go. All right, now what you want to do now is make it more smooth. So instead of it just instantly doing that, we can do like a local tween back equals. It'll create that tween. And we can do tween back play, tween back dot completed wait, and then it'll do all that. It'll wait for that to complete, and then it'll make everything visible. There you go. Now it's a lot smoother. Look at that. All right. That's basically it. That's all you would need to do. All right. I just wanted to say thank you guys for watching the first video. If you guys want a part 2 to some more UI effects and other things like that, make sure you subscribe, like the video, drop a comment on what you would like to see specifically. It would mean a lot for me to, make more videos on this channel. So yeah, I appreciate you guys being here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.